Somewhere between the last ember of evening and the first silver of moonrise, there is a valley where no ordinary person dares to wander. A valley where the old oaths still hold, where the trees lean inward as if listening, where the river murmurs in a language older than any tongue you know. And tonight, a woman named Ira is riding straight into the heart of it. She is not brave, she will tell you this herself. She's simply running out of time. The village elders gave her one moon turn to find the Lycan lord of the valley, to offer the old treaty, her hand, her name, her alliance, or see everything she loves fade to ruin. She thought she was ready. She was not, because no one warned her that the Lycan Lord would be him, the one who 3 years ago left her in the rain on the northern road and never looked away, the one whose silver eyes she still saw sometimes in the hour before waking. Roan. She whispered his name now, and the valley seemed to whisper it after her, low and long, the way wind moves through long grass. The forest opened like a slow exhale. Ira's horse, a silver grey mare named Wren, slowed without being told. The air here was different, heavier, warmer, carrying the sweetness of night-blooming wild roses, and something else beneath it, something warm, animal, alive in a way that made the whole world feel more awake than she was used to. Torches floated ahead. Not torches exactly. Fires in iron rings, lining a path of smooth river stones, leading to a low, wide hall. Moss-covered, old and beautiful in the way that only things grown slowly over centuries can be beautiful. A figure stood at the far end of the stone path. She did not need to see his face. She knew already. "You have 3 days," he said. His voice was low, a little rough, the way a river is rough over smooth stones. Not harsh, only alive. 3 days to persuade me the alliance is real, not a ruse, not a trap laid by you elders to draw me out of the valley. Ira slid from Wren's saddle and stood in the orange firelight. She smoothed her riding wool and raised her eyes to his. He was older, or perhaps more himself. His hair was the same, the color of dark earth after rain. His jaw was shaded now, His shoulders had the weight of someone who had been learned to carry something heavy and stopped resisting it. His eyes were exactly as she remembered, silver, still, deep as winter wells. "I only need one," she said. Something shifted in his expression. Not a smile, not yet. Something quieter, as if a word he had been holding for a long while had almost risen to the surface. He gave her a room in the east wing. A warm meal was left, no servants visible, only the quiet evidence of care. A fire already breathing, a bowl of stewed herbs and grain, a rough woven blanket, the color of heather. Ira sat on the low window seat and looked out over the valley. The moon was rising, and as it rose, a sound came from somewhere, far below, not a howl, not entirely, more like a long, low note held in the throat of someone who had not been able to talk for a long time. She pressed her fingers to the cold stone of the window frame. She had been told Roan was dangerous, ruled by animal nature, unreachable, too wild to negotiate, too proud to reason with. She was beginning to wonder who had told her that, and why. The morning arrived in the valley, way mornings do in old, sheltered places. Slowly, softly, the light feeling its way through the trees before it fully arrived. Ira found him by the river. He was sitting on a wide, flat stone, his sleeves rolled to the elbows, reading something. Actual reading. A bound folio worn at the edges. He did not hear her, or pretended not to. She sat on the far end of his stone. For a long while, neither of them said anything. The river moved. A heron stood in the shallows, still as a dream of a heron. Somewhere in the willows, a small bird offered 4 notes over and over again, as if unsure whether anyone was listening. "You used to love mornings," Rowan said finally. "I still do. You used to hate silence. I learned." He turned a page. "What else did you learn?" She thought about it honestly. That most of what I was afraid of was only ever stories someone else told me. He lowered the folio. He looked at her for the first time in 3 years. Really looked. The way you look at something you had convinced yourself was gone. Ira. Her name in his voice. There it was. the thing she had been pretending she did not need. "I did not leave you," he said quietly. "On the northern road, I was taken. Your elders arranged it. I only learned this a year after." The river moved. The heron lifted slow and enormous and was gone. Ira felt something unlock in her chest, something she had been turning a key against for 3 years, holding shut by sheer will, because opening it had felt like losing. "I know," she said. "I learned that too." The second day passed like a long, slow breath. They walked the valley together. He showed her the old healing grove where the woman of his lineage had gathered for 500 years. She showed him the treaty scroll, not as a demand, but as what it was, a plea, written by frightened people, handed to someone they had been taught to fear. "They were wrong to fear me," he said. "They were wrong about a great many things. And you?" He was watching her sideways. In that way, he had not direct, not intrusive, the way you watch something rare, careful not to startle it. "I was wrong too," she said simply. "I'm here now." The moon was rising again. She did not go inside. Neither did he. They sat side by side on the valley slope. As the stars emerged one by one, the way words emerge when someone finally stops being afraid of what they mean. On the third night, the moon was full. Ira woke to find the hall empty and the door to the valley open. She followed the path of river stones out into the silver-flooded meadow and stood very still. He was there. Not only himself, or rather, wholly himself in a way she had never seen. The moonlight moved in him, through him. He was larger than memory. His eyes were entirely silver now, luminous, the way valley reflected in them. And yet, he was looking at her with the same expression he had worn by the river, the same careful, wondering stillness. She walked toward him, 1 step, 2, 3. He did not move. She reached up and placed her open hand against the side of his face, the way you rest your hand against warm stone, not to hold, only to feel. He exhaled slowly, the sound of something letting go. The moonlight softened, the valley breathed. She had come with a treaty. She stayed for a reason older than treaties, older than alliance, older than the names they gave to what was happening between them. In the morning, she would send word to the village. The alliance would hold, not because of fear, not because of necessity, But because of this, two people, one valley, one long exhale of recognition. She fell asleep on the heather-colored blanket, with the fire low and the moon streaming white across the floor, and the sound of the valley breathing around her, like something very large, very gentle, very old, deciding to rest. When she woke, there was a note beside her, written in a careful hand on old folio paper. The elders did not send you to offer the alliance, Ira. They sent you because of an old prophecy, one the Valley woman wrote 500 years ago. It says, "The one who walks to the Lycan Lord without fear and rests her hand against the moon shall be the reason the valley endures." You were not sent to negotiate. You were sent because it was always you. It was only ever you. She lay still for a long time. Outside, the valley was full of morning, and somewhere down by the river, she could hear him, reading, waiting, in no hurry at all. She smiled and closed her eyes again and let herself drift back into the slow, warm edge of sleep, and where everything at last was exactly as it was always meant to be. Sweet dreams.